Good morning, traders. I wanted to walk you through this trade. We had the open right here of London. We also have over here the open at 5 o'clock or 6 o'clock, New York. And there's a gap. It opened up with a gap right here. So I'm feeling like that's a liquidity draw. These gaps will often fill. And so I've taken when we came down here earlier, you can see right here I have marked out a fair value gap as well as a volume inefficiency. See how those corners of the candles, let me move that out of the way for a minute. The volume of that candle and the corners of the candles don't match. And this is on a 5 minute chart. And so I marked that entire area as a fair value gap, which we're trading down into. And if you look at big picture, you can see a straight line right here. So anybody that had gone short is most likely going to have their stops to cover their position if they're wrong right above that line. And as you can see, we went up and tested that area several times, took out any of those stops that were up there, and then now we're reversing. So I went ahead and took a short position. I made 323 on the way up. I'm up 425 currently. We're trading down through this fair value gap that formed earlier. That right there is the 50% mark of that where it just stopped. And that's kind of an idea of if it goes past that, chances are it's going to blow on through it. But if it stops at the 50% mark, then oftentimes it will reverse there. Now, we also had a fair value gap here going to the upside, and I marked the 50%. That's called consequent encroachment with a red line. We also made a fair value gap here. On the 1 minute chart, it has a volume inefficiency as well as that fair value gap, and I marked the whole thing out. You can see right here, these candles, that corner and that corner don't touch. So that little area right there is a volume inefficiency. So I marked that whole thing and the consequent encroachment. And once we get down here, it's going to reverse. This fair value gap that I had on the 5 is probably going to end up being a inversion fair value gap, which means price will retrace back up to it somewhere around here and then continue down. As long as it stays doesn't go up much above that red line, it may take out these stops right here, because that's the job of the algorithm, is to inflict pain on the retail guys. But here I would be interested in adding to my position for a push down to the opening gap. That's my plan, and hopefully it works out. We'll just have to wait and see. It may not come back up here and give me an opportunity to add, but if it does, I'll take it. Right now, it's respecting this fair value gap. It hadn't gone past the 50% mark. And if you notice this red line, it came down, and that's where it stopped, right at that 50% mark of this fair value gap. Those are very important things to look at as you're learning price action. So I wanted to show you. Now we've pierced with a wick, we've pierced this fair value gap. So my hypothesis that we're going all the way down to here is looking more and more possible. We definitely have stops here for those that went long, and it's going to go take them out. And it's only another 2 points, another $2 down to here. So I see it panning out. We'll just watch it for a minute and just see how it all works. Okay, so there's those stops. The 50% mark on this one is right there at that candle. So I'll be watching that for a retrace if possible. Add one more contract for a little downside. This is the London low where it's sitting right now. And it may not, I think, oh, that's the London low right here. We want to take it out. Mankind, this is like magic. If you can learn that price action, learn how to read it. The video I posted yesterday said chart homework. That's exactly what I did here. Exactly what was on that video. And we're filling that gap. I expect it to fill all the way. So I've got my take profit right there above it. It may be a better idea to go ahead and take my profit because we're really close to it. The mantra is don't be a dick for a tick. If it gets that close, go ahead and fill it. And we're close. We're real close. But I would really like to see it take it out. I think it will. I can definitely move my stop closer. Come on. Come on, Virginia. Just a couple of more ticks. Fill that gap. Man, this is nerve-wracking, huh? Because it could come all the way back up here and I'd lose all that money. I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to move this yellow line to where my take profit is. And I'm going to go ahead and take the trade off.
Order filled.
And then we'll just watch it and see if it does what I thought it was going to do. Because I don't want it to. I've had it do all this. We've taken out a lot of liquidity and it's filled the gap. It filled the gap. You can see that was the high from the other day. It did fill that gap. So it may not go down to that yellow line. And I've had this happen and watched all of my profit evaporate. That's why I went ahead and took it off. And I ended up making $700 on that trade. I'm up $1,020 on the day. And the market hasn't even opened. This is all pre-market action. So pretty proud of that. I can only make another 500 just keep in line with my trading combine rules. And I might try another trade later, but most likely I'm just going to leave that $1,000 there and see if I can find another setup like this tomorrow. And I started this trading day this morning around 3 o'clock. So when you think about that, you're just sitting in front of a computer doing nothing. Well, it's work. Let me tell you, it's work. See, this is what I was worried about. That right there would have already been, I had 2 contracts on. That would have been $200 already. If we come all the way back up to here, it's a possibility I would sell it short again. But since we've taken out this liquidity, most likely not. But I would really like to see it hit that yellow line, but I guess it doesn't really matter now, does it? Thanks for watching, folks. Learn that price action and you can write your own paycheck. Good luck. Good trading.